All
Wow.
right, all right, all right. That is a new intro song, but we are
Wow.
bringing you the same old best in the world of sports. This is the Overtime Sports Show coming to you live, as always, on a lovely Tuesday evening. If you don't know by now, my name is Greg Gross. My co-host on the other side, Dan O'Brien. Dan, what's going on, buddy?
Man, I just want to give you a heads up. That was awesome. That was really cool. The whole new intro was cool. Congratulations.
Trying,
I like that, man. Rocking
trying,
and rolling.
trying. You know,
Yeah,
we got to
man.
mix it up a little bit for
Yeah.
different reasons that you know, but
Yeah. No, I like it.
we're
Good
going
job.
places.
Yeah,
So.
we're going places, man. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine Tuesday evening. We got a little bit of chilly weather here again on
Yeah,
this
same here in St.
evening.
Augustine. Yeah.
Middle end of March. I wasn't expecting it. It's probably going to be the last time we're dipping into the 50s, almost the 40s, even by me. I'm sure it's colder by you, but
Yeah.
I'll take it, man. And a lot of sports action, a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be pretty March Madness, college basketball heavy. But before we get into any of that, we always start every single show with a hat reveal. You told
Yep.
me you got one.
I got one. I
We
got
talked
one.
about it right before we went live, and I told you that I love all your hats. You've been doing it now. This is episode 25. You've
Mm-hmm.
not missed a beat. You've had a new hat every single show, which has been awesome, and you keep it going. So,
Yep. So 25 in a row. Without
yeah.
further ado, hold on.
What does it say on the top?
Barstool Classic, my friend.
Ooh, all right. Nice.
Yep. So a little background on this one. I mentioned friend of the show, Jeff Creason. He let me borrow a couple of his hats, and he actually played in the golf tournament in Nashville called the Barstool Classic, and he got this hat there. So
Wow.
we, maybe a little foreshadowing some future friends of ours, Barstool. Maybe they'll like us. And but yeah, Barstool Classic is a very comfortable hat. It's got Trury on the side as one of their sponsors. So
That's awesome. That was Dolan, you said?
no, Jeff Creason, friend of the show.
Creason.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He
So
went.
give me a little bit of details because I've not heard of this. I know Barstool has a pretty big presence in the Nashville area. Like they have some pop-up bars around the country, and I think they got one on the Strip in downtown Nashville. But what's the tournament like? I'm assuming there's a buy-in and a fee. Did he play with a foursome? And was there a purse? Or I'm curious now. That sounds pretty cool.
So yeah, it's just a regular old golf tournament that you can play anywhere. He played with another friend, Robert Clary, who's a friend of mine, a St. Augustine local guy. And you just go there and you do an entry and you can play. And some of the guys are there. Big Cat, PMT's there. Some of the big Barstool guys. But yeah, it's just a regular old golf tournament, and they tour the United States. And this happened to be in Nashville where he played. And
Okay, so it's not at the same course every year. It's just they were in Nashville for this
we were
one.
just in Nashville, yeah.
Gotcha.
Like I'm pulling up their website right now. They have events. March 5th, they'll be in Myrtle. March 25th, they'll be in Atlanta. April 1st, Alabama. April 4th, Austin. So they move around, and it's just called the Barstool Classic.
Interesting. We got to try to link up with those guys. We should play with them at some point.
Yeah, it looks like the fees are kind of expensive, though. But, I mean,
Yeah.
like in Long Island, New York, on August 26th, in Pines Valley Course in Colonial Springs, it's $1,200 entry free. And a lot of these are already sold out.
$1,200 per foursome?
I believe so, yes.
Not horrible. I mean, $300. It's steep, obviously, but do it once, I guess. I mean, I would do it, save up for it, and it'd be fun.
Everything is sold out actually for 2024. Wow,
Really?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's probably also why it's expensive. It's like if you build it, they will come. I mean, clearly there's a demand for it. There's no shortage of people that probably want to play golf with the Barstool guys. So
yeah, exactly. So I don't, like I said, mainly the guys, the part of my take guys are they're mainly there. So like I said, hopefully a little bit of foreshadowing for us. Maybe they'll become fans of ours and friends of the show as we'll be friends of their show.
Yeah. So $1 million question: how did Jeff shoot? Do you know?
I believe that they shot like 3 or 4 under. It's a scramble, so I think they got top 10.
Cool.
But they didn't really win anything. I mean, you know how scrambles are. Scrambles are hard.
Yeah. Awesome. That's pretty cool. I had no idea that was even a thing, but that's a cool hat. Two golf hats in a row now. This last week and this week, right?
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Yep.
Well, that's a good segue. We mentioned we're going to be pretty college basketball heavy with the tournament kicking off this week. But before we get into some of that, I wanted to stay in that same lane and talk a little bit of golf. We talked about it the last couple weeks with the Arnold Palmer and TPC taking place this past week. And man, what a tournament it was. You and I picked a couple golfers again just for fun, watching a few guys that we thought would do well. You had McIlroy, who started off pretty well. Had me nervous, actually. I think he was, either first or second or tied for first around Thursday or Friday. And
tied for first, and I started running my mouth, and look what happened.
Yeah, that's
what
what
in the
get.
tips.
He fared pretty well overall. I think he was tied for 19th, -9 or 11, something like that. I had Matsuyama, and he was tied for 6th, actually -15, which was pretty awesome. Looks like I guess 2-0. We're not. I don't know if we're keeping historical track just yet, but I had the first round, and now I had the second round on you. So little bragging rights go my way, but more than anything, it was just a really, really awesome tournament. I tuned in to a couple of the rounds, certainly the final day, and I know you have a clip you want to play, and we can take a look at the eventual winner. So I'm going to turn it over to you when you're ready.
Sure. Yep. So I'm sure a lot of our fans watch the Players. I know, like I mentioned last show, it's a huge event here in Northeast Florida. I know a lot of friends of mine watched it, but just wanted to play this 20-second clip real quick, and then I'll do an elaboration on it.
Very last fraction. Look, he was unbelievable. Just about all of the hole. Wow. He was ready to fist pump 3 in a row in. Well, this was the crowd at 17, hoping for a playoff as they watched Wyndham Clark's birdie putt go in and out. They were not happy.
Man.
Yep. So just wanted to show that bad boy out, and going off of that, I mean, it was pretty impressive. I mean, Wyndham Clark, he was in the last pairing with Zonder Schauffele, and going into 16, 17, and 18, Scheffler was already done at -20. So going into 16, 17, and 18, Wyndham Clark was at 17 under, 3 shots off, birdied 16, birdied the hard island 17, and that clip I just showed was to birdie 18. And if he would have birdied that, as the clip said, would have forced a playoff. And he was ready to, obviously, as it says, do his fist pump and set a aggregate playoff where you go back and you do actually 16, 17, and 18 on a 3-hole aggregate playoff. So that would have been really exciting. But, it's just really crazy how he lost. But, I mean, hats off to Scotty Scheffler. I mean, I wanted to pick him last week, but doing my research, this was the 50th Players, and nobody has ever won back-to-back Players. And he's the first to win back-to-back. And also he won back-to-back weeks in Florida. I mean, Arnold Palmer 2 weeks ago and Scheffler last week. I mean, Players last week. That's really impressive. And I don't know if you saw his winnings, but last 2 weeks he won $4 million at Arnold Palmer and 4.5 at the Players. So $8.5 million in just 2 weeks, which is really impressive. And we already know the dude's a stud, number 1 overall rank golfer, but just thought that was pretty cool. Wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I mean, he, I think, is kind of the undisputed number 1 right now. Like you said, nobody's ever gone back-to-back years winning the Players. It's even hard just to go back-to-back in any given PGA season, and win a couple tournaments. So for him to do the Arnold Palmer and now the Players, it's something special. And I mentioned a couple times, but I'm going to be going to my first ever PG event this weekend. I'll be seeing the Valspar at Innisbrook. Pretty excited for that. It's supposed to be a pretty good field. There's quite a few big names in the lineup right now, but I am a little disappointed because no Scotty.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. I know I've been pretty vocal about certain guys playing or not playing in different events. I get some of the reasons why they would choose to stay out. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed. And I just don't really get it. If I was in his shoes, I mean, how special would it be for him to go back to back to back and Scotty maybe win, this tournament? That's not something you see ever, so for him not to be out there, I think we're getting cheated a little bit as fans of golf, but either way, I'm excited. Scotty is putting on a show. Like you mentioned, it came down to 3 guys this past weekend on 17 and 18, 17, the island hole basically. And it was Clark and Schauffele was there, and they both had like 6-foot putts. One was a foot or two closer. I can't remember who was closer, but Clark was the one who made his, and Schauffele didn't, right?
Schauffele made they both missed the birdie to do a playoff. Schauffele did the par, and then Wyndham was the one that I just showed that did the lip out to do the birdie.
But that was on 18.
Yeah,
right?
17. Yeah, they all birdied. So Clark birdied the last two, and Schauffele birdied 17. So all he had to do was birdie 18.
One of them missed the birdie on 17.
Yeah, it would have been Schauffele.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Schauffele would have been in the same position as Clark on 18, but he missed that birdie opportunity. So that really hurt him. And it was a pretty makeable putt. You know, they were both 5-6 feet out, and kind of ruined it. But it was still fun. You could see Scotty. Did you see him? He was in the clubhouse. Then he went outside, and he was
warming up a little bit.
Warm up, just in case. But
it was pretty cool.
Event,
yeah, it's one of the best events. I mean, I wasn't able to go this year, but I mean, still, I've been in the past, as I mentioned last show, and it's just really. I mean, it was awesome weather. You couldn't ask for better weather. And the crowds are out there. I don't know if you watched a lot of it, but I watched a lot, after work Thursday and Friday, watch Saturday, watch Sunday. There was a lot of people there, and especially on 17. I mean, that's iconic, but it's just really cool. I mean, Scheffler joins a couple guys with multiple players wins, but the only guy with 3 wins is Jack Nicklaus. He's the only one that has 3 players wins. So be pretty impressive if he comes back next year and wins 3 in a row.
That's an elite company, man. And Scotty, I think, is kind of at the prime of his career, but do you know how old he is off the top of your head? I'm trying to.
I want to say he's like 27, 28. He's not that old. And to go to your point too, just to mention Scheffler, one of the reasons why I think he's not playing Innisbrook, I don't know if you were watching, but he had a stiff neck on Saturday, and then he woke up with a stiff neck on Sunday and got some treatment. So I think he's trying to make sure that his neck is not all jacked up for the Masters. And he just did play 2 of the most prestigious PGA Tour events in Orlando and Ponte Vedra. But I mean, I'm with you. Everybody likes to see it. I mean, it'd be really cool, but I think he's just trying to protect his health and protect his neck. Because like I said, they mentioned it on Saturday. He wasn't himself. And, I mean, he came back from 6 strokes on Sunday. So.
Yeah, I get the reasons. It's just, I think it would be awesome to see somebody.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I'm looking at Scotty's achievements for a moment, and this is on the PGA Tour's website. You're right. He is 2017. So, dude is so young. I mean, he's easily got 10 or 15 years ahead of him, where he could play good competitive golf and still be up there. He's played in 118 events. He's got 18 PGA Tour wins. I would have thought it was a little more than that, but that's not nothing. 49 top 10 finishes, 36 top 5. He's been runner-up 7 times, third place 10 times. But this number is staggering. So he joined the tour in 2020. So, I guess he was 23 years old then. He's only been on tour for 4, maybe 5 years, whatever it is. Official money won $53 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, that's a staggering amount of money in just 4 to 5 years. I mean, geez, it's just ridiculous.
Yep. But another crazy stat is Scheffler's already made more money than Tiger Woods did in 2024. So in the events this year, he's earned $10.9 million, and Woods only won $9 million in all of 2000, which was crazy. So it's just really crazy the amount of obviously the prestigious events and the purses, but still that's kind of crazy. Yeah, $10 million in 2024 for Scheffler.
That is crazy. But hey, good for him. I mean, like we said, he's at the top of the game right now, and he sounds like a good guy. He's a good. I mean, I know you like Rory quite a bit. You could make the argument he's the face of the sport, but I think a lot of people are starting to know Scheffler's name, so he seems like a good guy to rep the brand.
Yeah, next online will be winning a major, so that'll be his next accomplishment. Which I think by far he's going to be the favorite going into the Masters. I mean,
it's got to be. I don't think anybody else will take that from him. So looking ahead, because I'm going to be there. What do you say we pick 2 golfers for the Valspar?
Yep, I will let you go again first because you obviously are 2-0.
I got a little bit of thought in this.
I think I have an idea who you're going with.
You have an idea?
Yeah, I think.
Do you want to say it?
No, actually, no. We said the thing last year. You're not going to go Justin Thomas because you already used him.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Then never mind.
But,
That's what
I could use them again. I just what were the rules? The rules were we
if
I
he
know
wins.
we could pick the same guy if he won,
Yes.
but we couldn't pick him if we already used him. Is that what it was?
I thought that's what you said. Yeah. So that's
You
why
might be right.
Yeah, you can't use Justin, but
okay. So Justin's out. He wasn't who I was going to pick anyway. I would like to go with Jordan Spieth.
Ooh,
He's
good
going to be
luck
my
with that
pick.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's playing. I'm looking at how he did last year. He was 2 back of the leader. The last year, the leader, I guess, was Taylor Moore, the winner. He was -10. Spieth was tied for third at -8. And I know he's played the course quite a bit. So I'm rooting for him. I like Spieth. I'm a pretty big Spieth fan. I think it might be his day. So maybe shot in the dark. I don't know. We'll see. But
Okay.
Well,
what day are you going again?
I am going Sunday. I'm going to see the final.
All right. So you're going to see my boy win, and it's going to be Sam Burns. I'm going with Sam Burns.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yes, old Sam Burns. I believe he might have won before this. I think that's why I'm picking him. Let's see.
I'm looking to see.
Yep, he won in 2021-22. So he's a
Okay.
previous winner, Sam Burns. You'll be able to watch him raise the trophy for me. So I'm pumped on that one.
He was -5 and in 6th place last year, so not very far back of Spieth at all. So,
and he actually won 2 out of the last 3 years. He won in 21-22 and 2021. So 2 out of the last 3 years, Sam Burns has won.
So I'm looking at the leaderboard for TPC, and Burns was not great. I mean,
sorry,
-4. It looks like he was tied for 45th. I'm trying to find Spieth. I don't know how he.
I don't think he made the cut. He had a really bad round.
Did he?
I don't think he made the cut. Honestly,
probably right. Well, he's definitely going to. Yeah, you're right. He did not. He was +2. So need to turn around for sure. But I know Spieth plays.
Well, so does old Sammy Burns, my man.
Yeah. So I like it. One last thing before maybe we transition to something else. Like I said, last year it was -10 was the leader at Valspar. You think over or under this year for the leader? They better than -10 or worse?
Hold on one second. I'm going to go better. My boy Sam Burns shot a -17 in 21-22, and he shot a – come on. Actually, he shot 17 both years that he won, it looks like.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over. What about you?
As much as I would like to be different to make it interesting, I'm going to say they shoot better as well. I think,
especially if the weather's going to be like it was this past weekend. I mean, you saw the scores in the players. I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
20 under was ridiculous.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. 20 under is a really, really good score. There's a lot of competition lately. I think there's a lot of golfers pushing each other. Guys see that they can't slack off. They're extra dialed in when they're out there on the course. So yeah, I like it. I think we're both in lockstep there. So
yes, sir. And they got that live crap, so they want to make sure that they're what make the tour look good. And
yeah. So we could switch gears. Obviously we'll get to our beer segment in a little bit. Probably back half of the show we'll get to our brackets. We got some reveals and things like that. But I wanted to talk a little bit of baseball just for a moment. We're going to have a pretty baseball heavy show next week before the season actually kicks off on opening day. But I got something I want to run by you. You probably already know what's going on, but tomorrow marks I guess you could say technically opening day.
Yep, they're yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. Do you know the start time for the game?
6:35 a.m.
Yeah. So the Dodgers and the Padres open up in Japan, and
actually Korea, my friend, Korea.
Is it Korea?
Yep.
Okay, I thought it was Japan. So glad you mentioned that. So it makes even less sense now because I thought they were doing it for Shohei, with the Dodgers being over in Japan, but that's not the case. So now I truly don't get it. What is the thought process? And riddle me this. So opening day is tomorrow for two teams, and I think they're also playing Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So 2 games while they're over there.
Yep.
Then they come back this weekend and next week, and they play more spring training games after they've already started their regular season, and they play spring training. Like, what is the logic in that? Why is the MLB so keen on having them start a week early? I mean, is it truly just to spread the game into other parts of the world, or?
Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, obviously we're not MLB officials, but I think that they're spreading the game to Korea. I know that the Padres have a Korean shortstop. So, and a couple of Korean guys got signed this past free agency, and I think they're just really trying to grow it. And I don't know why they're coming back to play spring training. I guess because the official home opener is a week from Thursday. So I guess they're going to go over there. They actually went over there, I think, last week, and they played a bunch of Korean teams. Like they played the Korean Giants, the Korean Padres, the Korean Dan O'Brien's. Like they have some weird, they have weird teams over there. But they did have a little bit of spring training, and I think they're just really trying to grow the sport. And like I said, just trying to, like what football's doing. It's the same thing what football's doing with the So they're calling it the Soul Series. They're calling it the MLB World Tour. And then later this year, too, they're going to be playing, I think the Mets are playing the Phillies in London. So I know 3 years ago, the Yankees played the Red Sox. Last year, the Cubs played the Cardinals. And I want to say the Phillies play the Mets, I want to say in June, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But they're going to be playing. That's what they're doing there. So, I mean, they're like up here, they have a bunch of world tours. They already had Dominican Republic a couple weeks ago. Actually, we went to spring training. The Red Sox played the Rays in Dominican Republic. The Astros are playing the Rockies in Mexico. And then, the Phillies are playing the Mets in London. Yes. So they're just trying to, I guess, broaden the game a little bit. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I don't know. Sometimes I've said it before on the show, old man syndrome in me or something. Get off my lawn kind of guy.
I'm the same way.
I just think it's absolute bonkers to have one team start their season a week before all the other teams. I think it's just, number one, kind of stupid. But then even dumber to have that team who starts early go play spring training and then resume their season. Just doesn't really make much sense to me, but whatever. Yeah. I was actually listening to The Fan on the way home from doing some grocery shopping, and they had an interesting conversation. They were talking about what we're talking about here, overseas games and these ridiculous start times. And they were comparing the MLB to the NFL, which we know is king in this country. They get away with just about anything. They've already been putting games on the last few years in Germany, in London, Mexico. The London games usually kick off around 9:00. And some of the guys were talking about, 6 a.m. for baseball is pretty bad. They don't think they're going to get many viewers. And I can't really disagree with them. But they talked about how 6 a.m. is actually not terrible because people are up at 6 o'clock. People are up at 5 o'clock. But they compared it to, like, what would be the worst start time you could have for a game, baseball, football. And they were saying, like, 3 a.m., which I kind of agree with. I mean, that's like the dead of the night. There's not many people, unless you're working the graveyard shift, that are up at that time. But they were saying that the NFL could get away with it and people would watch. And it just got me thinking, if the NFL, and I think it's just bound to happen. I really do. Because like I said, they're doing London games at 9.
I know where you're going with this.
I'm just curious your thoughts. Do you think it'll ever happen? I don't know if it's likely, but if they did, do you think they'd have good viewership?
So I think it's 50-50 that it does happen, and 100% yes, because what people would do is they would turn it into a late night NFL watch party at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And bars would try to, obviously Las Vegas, New Orleans, maybe Miami, Key West, the places you could drink 24/7, they would build a watch party around that. And they would say, come watch us at 3 a.m. in the morning. So yes, it would be very successful because, as we've mentioned, football is king. We couldn't get away from it for 2 shows. We had to come back to football for free agency. Not that we had to, but we couldn't get away from it because it's king. So I think it would be a success, and I think probably 50-50 that they might happen because they're thinking about they already went to Germany. I mean, where else are they going to go? They're going to go more, if they go to Japan. I mean, Japan would have to be 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So it might happen. This guy Goodell is kind of a jackrabbit, and he's thinking of anything.
Yep.
I'm sure that he would like to broaden the game. I think it's stupid. I think the London games are stupid. I think the Germany games are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, Mexico would probably be the only thing that makes sense because obviously it's just south of us. But I think that these are dumb. I understand what he's trying to do. I'm not a fan of it. Like I said, I'm with you, the old man, the old regular football.
And I mean, if you think about the NFL, it's the National Football League. It's not the International Football
Exactly.
League.
Exactly.
It's an American sport.
Yep.
TV, the internet stretches the globe. We don't need to actually move the games elsewhere. If people from London want to watch a game, let them tune into our time.
Or let them come to us. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
It's Roger Goodell being greedy. I mean, obviously, it's NFL's king, and he's going to make the money no matter what. So it's kind of a no-brainer. But it's just old school fans like us. Why? I mean, it's really what's the? I mean, it's a bunch of money, but still, I mean, keep it an American sport. That's my thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. So another question for you. You're a big baseball guy.
Yep.
I know it's not your Yanks, but are you watching tomorrow at 6 when you drive to work?
No, sir. I get if I don't know if I could find it on the radio. I listen to the Fan, obviously Boomer and Gio on the way in, so they might mention it, but no, I'm not going to. Yeah. I mean, I might try to get it on my phone if work's a little boring, which it probably will be. So I'll try, but not 100%. What about you?
Yeah. Now, I mean, I won't be. I mean, I won't be up that early, thankfully, but probably be up around 7 or so usually. And maybe I'll look for the game, but I'm probably not going to go out of my way for it. Maybe I'll check the score.
It's going to be on ESPN, I believe.
Oh, we'll be nationally televised. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I'll, I might stop on it if I'm channel surfing in the morning, making some breakfast or something, but I'm not going to go out of my way. Now, flip side is if it was the Yanks, are you watching?
So they actually did this, I want to say 6-7 years ago. They played in Japan against the Rays, and they did this, and I wasn't able to watch it, obviously, because I was working. So, I mean, I followed it on my phone, yes, but I wasn't able to watch it per se because obviously I was at work. But they did do this, I want to say 6-7 years ago. They played the Rays in Japan.
Gotcha. I don't remember that. I mean, it
was when they had Matsui. It's when the Yankees had Matsui and they had Masahiro Tanaka. So they did it, like I said, they did it like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. Gotcha. If it was the Mets for me, I might tune in, but I mean, it's just weird start time. And I figured you already knew about it, but I just wanted to mention it because
I knew about it.
Strange. So, what do you think? Did you want to touch anything baseball? Otherwise, maybe we can get some beers flowing. It's up to you.
Yeah, so I do want to mention, I don't know if you saw the news. I mentioned it last week. Garrett Cole, he got his MRI back. Nothing major, but they're shutting him down for 1 to 2 months. So, like I said, worst case scenario last week, I mentioned that would really kill us. And it did kill us because I don't know if you just saw, but Blake Snell, he signed with the Giants for 2 years. So he's off the free agency. So we're really just going to have to makeshift it because – I mean, he's still our boy. They said that there wasn't any structural damage, so that's kind of fingers crossed that it's not Tommy John, that he's going to be out for 1.5 years. But I just wanted to mention that because it's it wasn't good, but it's still not good, but it's not as bad as Tommy John.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I'm glad you brought it up. I had a question, hoping maybe you have some thoughts, know the answer. Snell is the reigning Cy Young winner?
Yes.
Why was he a free agent for so long? I don't get it.
Because I'm sure you've heard the name of what's the agent? What's the agent? The Scott Boras. I'm sure you've heard of Scott Boras. That was his agent. And this idiot wanted 7 years, $250 million. Wow. Then he wanted 6 years, $120. The Yankees actually offered him a 6-year deal, $125 million, and he pretty much said, "No, I want more money." So people did not want him to give him that much money. I mean, the stats on Snell is he's a good pitcher, but he's only going to give you about 5-6 innings. He's going to walk about 4 to 5 guys a game, and he's going to not give up a lot of runs, but he's going to, like I said, be out of the game after 6 innings. And ERA will be down. That's why he won the Cy Young last year, but he's not going to pitch long into the game. So he's going to pitch and your bullpen's going to be screwed, and that's that. But like I said, it's a true testament to not giving him what he wanted, and I think that's awesome because, like I said, he wanted big time money. We tried to give him big time money, and he still said no. So I think it was 2 years, $60 million. I think he got paid for with an option after this year, so he could be a free agent again next year.
Yeah, I don't think this sets any kind of precedent. It would be great if it did, but you're right. Like sometimes at a certain point, you got to just curb the greed. You know, these salaries and the demands, what guys are asking for, it's just getting out of control. It really is.
Yeah, my boy Soto is going to want $700 million next year, so it's going to be rough.
Well,
either your boys are going to give it to him, or we're going to give it.
Right?
He's still going to want it. He's only 25 years old.
Yeah. Well, he's got to produce, though. I mean, I think that's the big question. But
either your boys will give it to him, or my boys will give it to him. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see.
We will.
Yeah. So, what do you think? We're at the halfway point. Do a little bit of beers and after a quick break.
Yeah, we'll do it, buddy. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. We are going to get to our beer segment in just a couple minutes. So if you're watching us live, make sure you stick with us. We'll be back in a couple.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Had to make a couple changes, new intro song, adjust some of our music, but we can't get rid of the beer song, man.
I know.
It's going to disappear from our recordings if you watch our recorded podcast, but on the live show, you get a treat for the beer song. So,
that you do.
Got to keep it.
Damn Luke Combs. Maybe we'll get him here in about a year. Maybe he'll.
Hey, how awesome would that be if we brought him on and did a beer taste with him, had him crack a beer with us?
Yep, and then he does that song live too. Wow.
Oh, yeah. We got to make that happen somehow.
Luke Combs, if you can hear us, we want you.
Yeah. Maybe our boy from last week can get us a connection to him.
Your boy Robbie.
Reverend Rob?
Yeah, Reverend Rob, our buddy. Yeah.
Shout out to Reverend Rob. Hope you're still listening.
Yep.
So, all right. I got in my notes that you went last week. So
you're up.
It's my turn. Yeah. So last week, if anybody watched, I went off the board a little bit and had banana porter.
Yep.
It was interesting. It was definitely an out there choice. This one I'm hoping is a little more middle of the road. Got this one. If you look at the can art, it says Trust.
Okay.
Yep. Have you heard of it or no?
No, I have not, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I kind of like the can art. And on the bottom, you won't be able to see it on camera, but it says a premium lager you can trust. And that's exactly what I want. You know, after going off the grid, I want something that when I open it, smells like a regular lager, tastes like a good lager.
Yep.
So this one, I'm really hoping meets my expectations. It is from Great Central Brewing in Chicago, Illinois, and it is 6%. So not too much else fancy about this one.
I hope it's good. Remember we did our live show and I had that beer. That guy said it was like the best beer ever and it sucked. So
yeah,
I hope, I hope this is good for you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Got to get bigger cups, man.
Yeah, I really do need to get the one that you have.
Well, we just need to get Overtime Sports Show cups. That's what we need. We need someone to make them for us.
It's almost perfect.
There you go.
So I don't know if you can see that head actually, just at the top there.
Move your finger so I can see the color because I got the. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay, nice. How's it smell?
It might not present as well on camera, but lager smell, got a little hop smell to it, but a little bit of an aroma, but it kind of smells like a lager. So I'm going to give it a taste.
Okay.
It's good.
Oh boy.
To be honest, it's not exactly what I was expecting. Let me give you one more taste. I'm going to tell you what I think this tastes like.
Okay.
I mean, it's nice and crisp. But to be honest, this kind of tastes like a little bit of a Marzen almost, because I've had quite a few of those. I know now what they
Yeah, you
usually
have.
have in common. It's got a little bit of a malty flavor. Like the hops in it are kind of strong.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly expecting that, but I guess I was expecting it to be like maybe just a little bit on the lighter side, but it is good. So I'm going to give this one an 8.1.
Okay.
8.1. I think it was good, not great. I like it. So that is Trust
8-1.
Lager. Yep.
Okay.
And it's Great Central Brewing Company in Chicago. Not bad.
Yep.
Not bad.
So before I get started, the beer I did last week, that Irish Red, I actually bought a 4-pack and had it for St. Patty's Day on Sunday. So that
Nice.
that actually our beer segments actually went into fruition with
I love it.
the buying of the 4-pack. So you're a sucker for can art. So wait until you see this bad boy.
What the? Wow. That looks like graffiti or like a couple of spray paint cans exploded. Does that say Frosty?
Frosty Friendship Dragon.
Wow.
So this type of beer I've actually never had before. It is a whipped frosting double IPA.
Wow. What?
If you can see it right here.
Frosting. Yeah.
Whipped frosting double IPA. So this is another Canada beer. It looks like this is probably like my 10th or 11th Canada beer. I've done a lot of Canadian beers, and this is, I got the website up. It's from Flying Monkey Craft Brewing out of, where does it say right here? Barrie, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
So Barrie, Ontario, Canada. And what it is it's a dramatic roll of soft warmth expand in the lactose-laced body of this beer. Within airy pockets of vanilla, muffled with whispers of lemon, additions of Amarillo, Moquita, Euconaut hops whip this chemically frosting double IPA into a dreamy vessel of intensely pointless joy.
Okay. What's the percentage?
8.3.
8.3. Okay.
This might be the strongest beer that we've had on the show.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'll have to check the notes and see, but you might be right. That can art looks like something students at a high school art class would design. You know, like they would all come up with their submissions for a new beer art, and that one won.
Yep. So look at that color.
Look at that color. Wow, that's like a bright orange, little bit of haze to it.
Holy moly. So off the beginning, you can definitely smell the vanilla. You can definitely smell the lactose. And then you can smell that lemon puree in there. So let me give it a... I'm not going to do it. That's a delicious beer.
You weren't going to do the oh wow?
Nope. That's getting retired, my friend.
Yeah.
But wow, that's good. So let me give it another flavor, another taste. So definitely you definitely hit the 8.3 at the beginning. You definitely hit that double IPA. Then it hits you with some vanilla and then lemon towards the end. So you can't really have too many of these because 8.3, that'll get you in trouble real quick.
Right.
But I'm going to go ahead and give this a 8.4.
I like it. I thought that's where you were going. I was going to guess 8.3, 4 and 8.3 or an 8.4.
That is a delicious beer, man. I don't know if you would like it because obviously, like I said, you're just getting into IPAs. It's very, very hoppy.
Yeah.
But it's still got vanilla and still got lemon in there. That's why I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So very, very tasty.
I would definitely try it. But yeah, who knows if I would actually like it.
Yeah. So this is a pretty cool website. I think at my local liquor store, they have a couple other ones. So I might get another one of these, like a different variety, because they have a bunch of them. So
they let you buy singles there, huh?
Yeah, I think I told you that. Yeah, they have a bunch of 4-packs, and you can rip off a single, and then it's really cool. Yeah.
Nice.
So cheers, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, cheers. Couple good beers today.
Yeah, man. Before we jump into NCAA, I wanted to talk a little bit of hockey. That's right with you.
Let's go. I have maybe just a couple thoughts of my own, but let's hear it.
So I want to talk about my Islanders. Obviously, we've talked about them all show long. They on a 6-game win streak, got themselves back into playoff contention. Then they lost 3 straight. They won 1, and then they lost obviously to the Rangers. So looking at the standings right now, they are 5 points behind the Lightning and 2 points on the Capitals, and they no longer have a game in hand. They only have a game in hand with the Red Wings, and only a point behind them. So it's just very. I wanted to mention them. I mean, I've said it how they play good 5-on-5 hockey. Their power play stinks. They just can't really do it at a 5-on-5 hockey. So it's like they don't want to get the playoffs because, like I said, they won that 6 straight. They got us into playoff contention, and then they lose 3 straight.
Yeah.
So it's just very, very frustrating. I don't know if they're going to make it. So, but I still wanted to talk about the Panthers. They're on a little bit of a 2-game losing streak, but they're still 1 point behind the Bruins for number 1 in the East. Actually, they're tied with the Rangers. So the Rangers and the Panthers are 1 point behind the Bruins for first in the East.
Yep.
And wanted to mention them and
first
your boys.
In the league, really.
First in the league. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with my Islanders. I mean, we're playing tonight. I think I just saw. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. I'm pulling up the scores. So we're playing a must-win game tonight. We're playing the Carolina, and we're down 3-0, of course. So. Ooh. I don't know, man. Looks like we might be going over the team donator this year for the Panthers if my Islanders don't make it.
Yeah, that's a tough game against the Hurricanes. I did not bet it because you guys are home and you're in that do or die mode. So I thought you might keep it close, but the Hurricanes are a good team. Interestingly enough, I don't want to steal the spotlight, but the Flyers held out Couturier today, and your boy Tortorella said it was because he needed to see more out of him. He's not producing or something. And some people, I think you either love or hate Torts. I'll always have some love for him because he got the Lightning their first cup.
Yep.
Hated him when he was coaching the Rags, of course. But I think the one thing almost anybody can appreciate from him is that he doesn't really pull any punches. Like, he just speaks his mind. He's not afraid to say what needs to be said, and he's not afraid to do what needs to be done to hold out a star player at this juncture in the season when, let's face it, the Flyers have been reeling lately. Like, they were in one of the top 3 Metro spots for a long time this season, and now they're like in danger of falling out of it. Like Washington, I fully expect them to pass them, but tonight, they held out their star, and they are beating a good Leafs team right now, 3-0 at the end of the second. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. It's something that Torts did today, and it's coming from a guy who's a fan of a team that just fired their coach. Obviously, you guys fired your coach.
Yep.
I think we did it way too late. And the coach got canned because he's not willing to do some of the things that a guy like Torts, is willing to do. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and it seems like it's working out for him.
Yep, and then we'll finish off on hockey on this stat. So I got a stat that I want to show you, and then I got a trivia question for you. We'll see if you get it. So Alex Ovechkin, we've mentioned him, how he was in a slump when I went to go watch them play in Thanksgiving time. But I don't know if you saw this, but he became the 3rd player in NHL history to score 20 goals in 19 consecutive seasons, and he was the first player to do it to start his career. So the trivia question for you is if you can name the other 2 that's done it.
What do you mean to start his career?
So 19 seasons, he's the first NHL player to have at least 20 goals in all 19 seasons to start his career.
Oh, I see. And the other 2 did what?
The other 2 had 19 straight seasons, like at least
not from the beginning.
Not from the beginning. Yes. So if you can't get it, I'll give it to you. But I just thought it'd be an interesting trivia question.
Well, I'm trying to think what other players had 19 straight. Bossy didn't play that long. Lemieux didn't play that long. I'm wondering, I have a feeling one of the guys may be pretty old. Don't quote me on this just yet. Like, I'm thinking like somebody like John Bellevue or somebody. But how could I leave out Gretzky? I'm thinking Gretzky's got to be one. He's not, because he started in the league coming from like the WHA, and there's like, I don't know, technically his rookie year wasn't his rookie year and things like that, but you're saying he wasn't one of them. So let me think. Hold on. This is tough. Bellevue. Was one of them Yzerman?
No.
All right, one last guess. This is really tough. Brett Hull.
No.
Damn.
So Gordie Howe did it in 22 straight seasons, and
Okay.
Brendan Shanahan did it in 19 straight seasons.
Oh wow, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have got Shanahan. I should have maybe guessed how, but
Yep. So I thought that was a pretty cool stat and pretty cool trivia question. But
so yeah, I was watching the game last night, and I wanted to mention the Caps real quick because you're talking about your boys who are struggling. The
Yep.
Flyers may slip out of a spot, and the Capitals are one of those teams that's just surging right now.
yeah,
And
3 straight. They're tied with they're 3 behind the Lightning. But yeah.
yeah, and they have a game in hand on the Flyers, and they're
Yep.
3 points back. The Flyers are winning, so they're doing what they need to do, but they don't have it locked up by any means. But the one thing I noticed is Ovechkin is starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's got 20 goals or whatever it is now. He was looking at like single digits for a while. So it's really good to see him kind of bounce back. He's only, I
51.
think 52, 51. Yeah, 51 goals off the record, which is amazing. Who knows if he gets it next year? I mean, this is clearly a down year from him, but I mean, think about how crazy that is. Like 20 goals is 20 goals. It's a pretty decent season. The league leaders are going to get maybe 50, maybe 60 in a really good year, but 20 is a decent year, 30 is a good year. Anything above that, and you're having a pretty great above average season. And Ovechkin's got 20, and it's a down year for him. So he could I don't want to say easily, but he could go back to his regular pace of 40 or 50 next year, and maybe he gets it. Which would be cool.
Real quick, just that right here. Ovechkin has 12 goals in his last 20 games since the All-Star break, and then 9 times in 44 before that. So, we were right. Yeah, he had single digits, and he's kind of been on a little streak, which is pretty cool.
He is. And one thing I wanted to mention about the Caps also is, we talked about your guys, the Islanders, how you guys have not fared well in overtimes and shootouts. And the other key stat, this is usually a telltale sign about teams, whether they make the playoffs or not. And that's the goal differential. If you look at the teams in the East right now, your Islanders are minus 20.
Yeah.
And everyone else around them that is in the hunt. I mean, even Buffalo, who's been surging,
besides the Capitals.
The Red Wings, right. And that's why I was going to mention it. So you guys, not good. The Capitals, who are actually surging, are worse than you, minus 27. I mean, that's almost unheard of to have that bad of a goal differential and technically be in the playoff hunt. You don't see that very often at all. So they're doing something that kind of goes against the mold. And further proof to that is, like, if you look at the West is as typical as it gets when it comes to goal differential. All 6 teams in the Central and Pacific are plus 20 or greater in goal differential.
2 wild cards are 15 and 16. Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying those are the 2 wild card teams.
Yeah,
so the 7 and 8 are plus 15, 16, which is also still pretty good. And then every team that's not in the playoff race in the West is in the negative. So it's a pretty good indicator of how well your team's playing. And the Capitals are kind of just going against the grain there. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get into the playoffs with a number that kind of eye-popping, but it just kind of stood out to me. So
look at the Sharks, minus 120. Wow.
That's straight rough, man. I mean,
that's wild.
Remember they started the year on a 0-10, I think, and then they had a little bit of a turnaround, but that's brutal right there.
Yep. So I just figured we touch a little hockey. I mean, that was a pretty cool stat for Ovechkin.
Yeah.
So I like to root for him.
100%. So got a few minutes left. We can crank through some picks and get some college basketball analysis going. We got, I guess you could call it an announcement, but Dan and I, we want to do something for our fellow loyal, dedicated listeners. We did a fun bracket challenge playoff pool during the Super Bowl and NFL playoffs, but didn't really have anything on the line for that. It was just really bragging rights. This time around, we can't afford much, but Dan and I are just going to offer up a nice little gift card to the winner of our bracket if you enter. So we'll shoot out the link on our Facebook page so everybody can join. But we're doing it on ESPN's website, the mobile app, either one. You can search for Overtime Sports Show and join our bracket. Free to enter, and winner will get some bragging rights plus a gift card just to make things interesting. So
25 smackaroos, nothing too crazy. Get a nice cold beer, cold beer and a burger or something or whatever you're into. Yeah.
Exactly. Every little bit counts. We hope people appreciate it. So we just want to make it interesting. But without further ado, I think we're going to take turns sharing our screens a little bit, doing some picks here before we wrap up. And we're kind of going to go round by round, division by division. So let me share my screen first.
Okay.
And hopefully you can see it.
Yep.
Going to start in the round of 64. Full disclosure, and I'm not going to speak for you, Dan, but perfectly honest, when it comes to NCAA basketball brackets, I am not an expert by any means. Like a lot of things this year, us doing this show, there's some sports and things that I'm paying more attention to than I ever have before. This will be one of them. Every year I tune into the March Madness. I'll watch, the Final Four. The games are exciting and close. I can get into it, but I don't know the players. I don't know the teams very well, the matchups. I've looked at some stats, try to make some educated guesses. So I did a little bit of homework, but like a lot of people, this is kind of throwing darts against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, but it's fun though. It's fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun, and that's why we do it. So I just, full disclosure, I don't want anybody watching this and putting money down and saying, Greg told me these guys were going to win. That's not what I'm doing here. And again, I'm not speaking for you, Dan, but here we go. So in the East, round of 64, I got to go UConn. I mean, everything out there says that, they're just even the front runners to win the entire thing. So I don't think this is a year where a 16 beats a 1 in this conference, maybe some of the others, but I'm going UConn.
Yep.
I don't know much about the 8-9, so I'm taking FAU, the favorite here. I do know a little bit about San Diego State. I looked at some metrics. A couple of the key things that I looked for as I'm going through these picks, I looked at teams that rebound well. I looked at teams that have a high free throw percentage. I looked at teams that have a good margin of victory. So I want to see the teams that are just, blowing out other teams. A couple other criteria like steals and turnovers. I looked at bench points a little bit because I am curious about depth of teams. So that's just an idea of the things that I considered by making some of these picks. So I'm going San Diego State for those reasons.
All right.
Going Auburn over Yale. Don't really know much about that matchup. I've seen some things about BYU, so I think they're going to take over Duquesne's. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Is that how you pronounce that? Duquesne?
Yes, Duquesne.
Illinois was high on some of the metrics and leaderboards that I was watching. At some point, I want to pick an upset here, but I'm going Washington here, and then I'm going Iowa State. So I'm all favorites in this first round of 64 in the East.
All right, I'm going to go with mine now. So we're going to start at the top. UConn, they're actually the number 1 overall seed, and they actually won the championship last year. So going to go UConn. Friend of the show, Tyler, he actually went to Stetson, Tyler Galoom. So, I mean, there was a little bit of love there, but they're not going to upset UConn. So we're going to go UConn. Also, FAU, they went on an amazing run last year. They actually made the Final Four, and a couple friends that I have went to FAU. So I got to show FAU some love. Go FAU. San Diego State, UAB. I always like to pick a 12 over 5 because that's going to happen. It happens at least 2 or 3 times a year, but UAB, they kind of stink. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of UAB. So San Diego State. Auburn is they're the SEC championships. They just won the championship on Sunday. They got a really good team. Coach Bruce Pearl, really good coach. Like the way he coaches. My first upset is going to be Duquesne against BYU. BYU has been ranked the whole year, but they've had some mess ups, some where they don't show up. And Duquesne, they're a team from not a big conference, the Atlantic 10, but they played really well and they got some good shooters. So I'm going to go Duquesne. Illinois, they won the Big Ten, so Illinois. And then another upset I'm going to do is Drake over Washington State.
Okay.
The Pac-12. This is the last run for the Pac-12, as everybody knows. We talked about in football. The Pac-12 is going to be going away. Everybody's transferring out. All the teams are moving conferences. So Washington State, they don't really have any big good players. And like I said, Drake is like a Duquesne. They are a mid-major team. They play really well, and they shoot the ball well. So Drake, and then Iowa State, they might be one of my sleepers because they played in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is a really good basketball conference, and they won the championship, the tournament. So Iowa State.
Got it. I like it. I like it. So let me pop down. We're going to go over to the West. We're still in the round of 64. And I'm going Tar Heels. I don't even know who is How and WAG. What does that stand for?
So they're playing tonight or tomorrow. It's that stupid game that they play the first, Howard versus Wagner.
Oh, got it. So it's not even decided yet. Okay.
But yeah, that you know what that means.
Yep, exactly. Either way, I mean, I don't know that it even really matters. It's probably a formality. Mississippi State and Michigan State. I'm a pretty big Tom Izzo fan. I've listened to a lot of interviews from that guy. He's been coaching that team for a long time.
Yep.
They've had moderate success over the past, few years or so. So going 9/8, I wouldn't call that an upset, but picking them there. This one's tough for me. Again, going back to some of the metrics I described earlier, St. Mary's and both, believe it or not, Grand Canyon were up there in various categories. So kind of like you said, and it seems like inevitably every year some 12 beats a 5. So I'm going Grand Canyon over St. Mary's.
Nice.
That one was a hard one for me, but I have to do it there, go against the grain. I like Alabama over Charleston. I do like Clemson. I like Baylor quite a bit. I really want to pick a 10 over a 7 here. I just can't do it. Looking at some of the metrics. And then Arizona. So far, nothing really crazy for me on this side, but really just, I guess, maybe one upset is Grand Canyon over St. Mary's.
Okay. So I'm going to go with mine. Obviously, they're not going to have too many. I'm going to go North Carolina over the Howard versus Wagner. I'm going to go Michigan State as well. Pretty much what you said. I mean, Tom Izzo is he's a major coach. He's been around forever. I think he's just going to make he's a good coach. He's going to coach his players very well. There's another one too. I wanted to take Grand Canyon, but St. Mary's, they've had a pretty good team. And actually, this game is in Spokane, Washington, and the University of Gonzaga is in Spokane, Washington. So they're in the same division as Gonzaga, the West Coast Conference. So they're going to have some fans there watching St. Mary's because, like I said, they have the Gonzaga connection. So I'm going to go St. Mary's, going to go Alabama, going to go Clemson, Baylor, Dayton. So these don't really have any clarification, but this one right here, I do want to pick Long Beach State, but I'm going to pick Arizona. But a little background on Long Beach State. So 2 weeks ago, the coach of Long Beach State, him and the school, they mutually agreed to part ways. And because the coach has been there forever, he said he wanted to finish out the season. And the cool story about him is they ended up winning 3 straight in their tournament and made the NCAA tournament. So it's a really cool story, but they're not going to beat Arizona. But it's just a cool story that he wanted to stay along with the team. And so we'll go Arizona.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. We're going to pop over, still in round 64. It's the big one. We're going over to the South. I like Houston over Longwood. I like Nebraska over Texas A&M. None of these, again, looking for key indicators for me. Nothing kind of jumped out on the page as I was looking for, some stats that would convince me of, some kind of major upset. I like Duke over Vermont. This was the only one kind of similar to the 5 versus 12. I think each year there's, some 11 beats a 6. NC State was up there on a few of the categories I was looking at. So I'm going to go with them, I guess, as an upset. Moving right through it, though, I like Kentucky over Oakland. Florida, actually, I remember them back when, I was younger, in college days. They had couple of those good runs, early 2000s, and they were actually up there on a lot of the stat categories that I was looking at. So
yeah, a lot of people that are going to sleep this year.
Yeah, really curious, obviously, because we live in this area too, to see, how far they make it if they make some noise as a 7 seed. So I do like them, and I like Marquette. So again, it seems like I'm kind of pretty heavy favorites with maybe just kind of one upset almost in each division so far.
Yep. So we're going to start at the top again. Obviously, Houston, they got a really good team. I could see them going pretty far. They shoot the ball well. They rebound the ball well. This one, I'm going to pick Texas A&M. I just think Nebraska coming out of the Big Ten, they're a decent team, but Texas A&M, they played some teams pretty good. They rebound well. They shoot well. Their coach Buzz Williams is a really good coach. So I'm going to go Texas A&M there. Here's my 12-5 upset. James Madison over Wisconsin. If you remember correctly, when we first started the show, James Madison started the season undefeated, and they actually beat a couple of top teams because they were doing the same thing that the football program was doing. So I'm a big James Madison fan. That might bite me in the butt, but I'm going James Madison. Duke over Vermont. Seems like Duke plays Vermont every other year in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you noticed that, but they do play Vermont a lot. I think they played them last year and the year before. But I'm going to go with Duke. I'm going to go with you on NC State. The background on NC State, they actually won. They had to win 4 games in 4 days in the ACC tournament to actually make the tournament and win the championship. So they're on a heater. They got this dude, DJ Burns, number 30. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's a big boy. They list him at 6'9", 250. He's way over $3 billion. A fun player to watch. So DJ Burns, I'm going NC State. Kentucky will beat Oakland. It hates me to say this because everybody knows I'm a Gator hater, but Florida, like I mentioned to you, is the sleeper. So Florida over Boise State and Marquette over Western Kentucky.
Yep. Awesome. I like it. We got a couple so far here in this round of 64 that we're in agreement on, and then a couple others were different. So last round of 64, we're in the Midwest. I like Purdue. They were up there pretty early on. I know UConn kind of became, it seems like to some people, the heavy consensus favorite, but Purdue was, I think, leading in a lot of categories. So I got to go with them. Toss up here, this one for me, but I'm going Utah State. Gonzaga was heavy in a lot of categories that I looked at. Oddly enough, I don't know anything about McNeese, but they were up there on a few as well. But I got to go with the Zags. This one is the hardest one for me in the tournament because I remember being a kid and played a couple video games, March Madness games, and this was, probably early mid-90s or so. And Kansas, the Jayhawks seemed like they were just always up there every year, like with the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the Tar Heels. And I always liked them. It seemed like they just had a good history. Often when I fill out a bracket, I've got Kansas going in the Final Four. But this year, going back to all those categories and doing a little research, Samford is up there a lot. So this is by far my biggest upset on the board. I'm going Samford over the Jayhawks, who I usually root for.
It's a solid pick.
Call what you will. Yeah, I like it. I really do think they could make some noise. Last four, though, again, sticking with my tradition, I'm pretty sure I have only one upset in each round, and I'm going favorites here. I'm going South Carolina. I do think Creighton's going to go pretty far this year. I like Texas. And I like Tennessee. They were all up there on my research as well. So I think I did have one upset in every round. That wasn't by design or plan, but just worked out that way.
I gotcha. So we'll finish off the round of 64. Purdue, I mentioned Purdue. I think they're going to win it all. I mean, we'll talk about that later on this when we do the picks. But Purdue, they got 7-3 Zach Edey. I mean, you give that guy the ball 90% of the game. If he hits 80% of his free throws, you're going to get close to 30 points from that guy. And he's going to get a bunch of rebounds. So Purdue's a squad. Interesting stat about Utah State. They returned their team from last year with 0 points on their team. So everybody transferred out, and they still made the tournament. So that's a testament of the team that they have and the testament of a coach that they have. So I'm going to go Utah State. Nice. This one right here, Gonzaga, they're always around. This year was a bad year for Gonzaga. They're usually in the top 10, top 5. I don't even think they finished the year ranked. McNeese, they are a mid-major team. They can rebound the ball well. They got some size. So I'm going to pick McNeese right here for an upset. Again, I like your pick with Kansas. Kansas is like Gonzaga. They have an off year. They were in the top 5, top 10 all year until about middle of January, and they started limping a little bit. And I'm agree with you there on Samford. They got a nice young team, a nice mid-major team. I'm going Samford as well. Not to copy you, but that's a really good pick.
Yeah, like it.
South Carolina had a really good team this year. I want to say they made it to the semifinals in the SEC championship, and I think they set a record with the most wins in program. So I'm going to go South Carolina, and plus their girl team is undefeated, so the boys want to show that they can actually play good like the girl team. So I'm going to go South Carolina there. I agree with you on Creighton. They're a good coach team, Coach McDermott. He's been there for a very long time, and he coaches the boys. They got a good shooting team. Texas, Max Abis. Watch that name. He's a transfer from last year from a mid-major, and he's a small little scoring machine. And part of me wants to pick St. Peter's because St. Peter's, they ran the table last year, almost made it to the Final Four. I don't know if you remember correctly, but they were kind of a Cinderella story. But Tennessee is just too good of a team, so I'm going to go Tennessee. And I think let's stay here, and I'll do my 32, and then we'll go to you. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So I'm going to continue from the bottom. I'm going to go Tennessee over Texas. Tennessee is just a really good team, really coached, good team. They play well. Creighton, just what I said about Creighton. Coach McDermott has the boys playing, has them playing really good, a good team. This one right here, 12-13 matchup. I'm going to go with McNeese, again, from what I said about Gonzaga. A young team. They got some good rebounders and some good shooters. And Purdue, I mentioned Purdue are my winners. So we're going to go Purdue.
Like it. All right. So I'm going to stay with you, Midwest. I like Tennessee over Texas, the way my bracket worked out. I'm going to pick Creighton over South Carolina. Creighton, you talked about it a little bit, so did I. They make a lot of three-pointers as well, and I know that it's typically something we see in the NBA, but I think it's going to translate into the tournament too. So I like them for that reason. This one's tough. Like you said, not maybe a great year for Gonzaga. And Samford is just, they're not a 15, they're not a 16, but a 13 is still a dark horse. So I guess in my eyes, they could be labeled a Cinderella story. And I think they pull the upset again against Gonzaga, which is going to make for a pretty great matchup, in my opinion, because I like Purdue over Utah. So if this works out this way into the 16s, Sweet 16, I would love to see a Purdue Samford matchup. Would be pretty awesome.
All right. And then carry it up and then do your top 16, and then I'll do the other ones on the other side.
Yep. So let me go over to, whoops. Yep, here we are. So Florida Marquette, this is a tough one. I just don't know how far they can go. And Marquette, I think this one's going to come back to bite me, but I'm going to go Florida. But I wouldn't be surprised if Marquette, for me to end up as a 2 seed, that can't happen by accident, but kind of a homer pick. I'd like to see Florida go, which again, I think would create a good matchup because I think Kentucky wins this matchup. I like Duke over Wisconsin, and I do like Houston over Nebraska. So this side, the South and the Midwest, I think I have some pretty interesting Sweet 16 matchups.
Okay, cool. So this one right here, this is going to go towards my hatred for Florida. I'm going to go Marquette. Marquette played in the Big East with UConn. They played UConn tough all 3 games they played them, and Marquette's got a really good team. So I'm going to go Marquette. Kentucky is going to end NC State's banger, their little hot streak, because Kentucky, they have probably 3 to 4 lottery picks for the NBA draft next year. So they're a really talented team. And they also have Coach Cal, who's a really good coach. Obviously, everybody knows him. Duke against James Madison. I'm going to run this James Madison train. I think James Madison has got a really good team. Like I said, they started off the season. They beat a couple top 5s, early in the season. But still, I'm riding James Madison trade. Might bite me in the butt like Florida did for you. But, Hey, it's here nor there. And Houston, they got a really talented team. They're going to beat Texas A&M. So awesome. We'll go over here to the left on UConn. And UConn FAU. UConn against FAU, I mentioned earlier. FAU was a surprise last year. I think UConn's just too much of a good team. They're going to win. I like Auburn. Obviously, they were the SEC champions, and I watched a lot of that tournament this past weekend. Auburn's got a really good team. Again, Coach Bruce Pearl, I like the way he coaches. He's been around for a long time. He knows how to really coach his players, and he knows how to coach them well. Sleeper player, this guy Braum for Auburn. He's a 6'10" guy. He can go down low, and he can also hit the 3. So we're going to go Auburn. Illinois, really good team. We're going to go Illinois. And Iowa State, like I said, I mentioned earlier, Iowa State winning the Big 12 championship. That's a pretty monumental tournament to win.
Yep. All right. Let me go over to South or East rather, and for all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, in UConn, as much as I'd like to pick FAU, and you mentioned they had a nice little run last year, UConn just looks like they could go all the way again and repeat. So like that matchup. This one's tough for me. I initially had Auburn, and again, you just gave kind of a nice little analysis. I know a little bit about Bruce Pearl, just kind of like I've seen some interviews of Tom Izzo. So I want to pick them, but I'm metrics heavy this year, and San Diego State's been up there in more categories than Auburn has. So I'm going to go San Diego State in this one.
Damn.
And similar logic here. This one's really tough. Like you said, you think you might have one that's going to bite you. I think this could bite me, but I'm going BYU upset over Illinois. That's I think my bigger upset in the round of Sweet 16. And then I do like Iowa State to beat Washington State. So couple iffy picks there, but sometimes you got to go against the grain.
Yep. Go ahead and finish it out at the bottom, then I'll finish mine out.
Yep. So West, I like North Carolina. Again, is a great coach, but North Carolina looks like they're dominating a lot of areas. Grand Canyon, I had them beating St. Mary's. Is a bit of a toss up. I don't think they can get by Alabama. They're playing some strong basketball. I like them there. I like Baylor to go quite far. I think they'll have their way with Clemson. And Arizona, I like them over Dayton. You mentioned it earlier. They're playing pretty sound basketball. So not as many, really no upsets here. I got the 1 through 4 in the West kind of going to the 8. So.
Okay. Yeah, so staying with North Carolina, I mean, Tom Izzo is Tom Izzo, but North Carolina, they got Armando Bacot. He's a 6-year senior. RJ Davis, he just passed 2,000 points for his career. So, yes, North Carolina to beat Michigan State. Alabama over St. Mary's. Alabama, they score a lot of points. They average probably close to 80 points a game. I'm going to go Alabama. Same with Baylor. I like Baylor as well. They're a good rebounding team. They have a good point guard, young team. So I'm going to go with Baylor. And here's my upset. I'm going to go Dayton over Arizona. Reason why, Dayton, again, they mid-major, playing really well. Arizona kind of did a hiccup in the Pac-12 championship. I think Dayton will make it happen.
I like it.
So where do you want to stay here with Sweet 16 at the bottom?
Well, we're done with the 16, aren't we?
Yes. So this will bring us to the Elite 8.
Yep.
All right. So I'll just go ahead and pick these 4, and then you can pick the top 4, and then we'll go to the final 4. What do you think?
Let's do it. Yep.
All right. So again, what I just said about North Carolina, Armando Bacot, I like the way he plays. I like the way the coach Herbert Davis coaches. So I think I'm going to go North Carolina. And Baylor, again, I mentioned Baylor. They have a really good team, really good rebounders. I like them. And Purdue over McNeese. McNeese is my Cinderella, but Purdue, again, you'll see a little foreshadowing. You'll see that I like them to win just because of Zach Edey. So Purdue. And Creighton over Tennessee, that's going to be a hell of a game. I think this might be the best game of the tournament, Tennessee-Creighton. Mm-hmm. But Tennessee, just the way they play, just their tenacity. They have a white kid, Konecki, I believe. He's a really good three-point shooter. So I'm going to go with Tennessee. And the floor is yours, my friend. And then we'll reconvene.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting, that this round, if it works out. Of course, naturally there could be some upsets, and then our brackets go to crap, like most of them do pretty early. But this is going to be interesting. So I really want to pick Alabama, but I just can't go against North Carolina. So I got the same as you there, and I also have Baylor going over Arizona. So you and I have a pretty similar bracket in this region right now. We both got North Carolina, Baylor making it there. And in the Creighton, Tennessee game, I am actually picking Creighton. I think it's going to be a good matchup, but I do like them over Tennessee. As much as I would like to pick Samford as my Cinderella dark horse, I can't pick them against Purdue. For the reasons you mentioned, I mentioned, they've been dominating for a very long time. So I do have Purdue there. So I've got 1-3 and 1-3 coming down to that 4.
Yep. And then finish your top, and then I'll finish mine, and then we'll go from there.
Yep. So I've got to go UConn over San Diego State. I'm not going to spoil how far I think they go, but I do think they get past San Diego State. This is a tough one for me. BYU is just they're up there in stats, so I'm picking them again to upset Iowa State. I do like Houston over Duke, and I do like Kentucky to finally put the brakes on Florida.
All right. So actually, this will get us into the Elite Eight. That was just a Sweet 16. So to get us into the Elite Eight, again, mentioned UConn, a really talented team, champions last year. I think they're just a complete team. UConn, Iowa State. I told you I'll be running them wild. They are a really good team. I've watched them play a lot this year. Big 12 champions, Iowa State. Going to Houston and James Madison. Half of me wants to pick James Madison to screw everything up, but Houston's just way too talented. So Houston and Kentucky Marquette. I think Kentucky, like I mentioned before, they have 3 to 4 lottery players on their team and Coach Calipari. So Kentucky. And I think I'll pick mine, get to the Final Four, and then you pick your 4. What do you think?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So it's really hard to repeat in college basketball. Everybody knows this. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Iowa State over UConn. And as I just mentioned again, Kentucky has a really good roster. I think Kentucky beats Houston. So those are my half of my Final Four. And then coming down here, I got Purdue versus Tennessee. Again, I mentioned Purdue with Zach Edey. I like them a lot. And Baylor against North Carolina. I think Baylor has the team to do it. I think they have a young team. I think they're going to be able to rebound very well. So I got Baylor in there. So my Final Four, Iowa State versus Baylor, Kentucky versus Purdue.
I like it. I could see that Kentucky-Purdue matchup being awesome and happening. Would love to see Baylor come in there, but I'll share my screen. And that's where we're a little different. Sticking here, actually, I do think, like you said, I guess I can spoil it now. I don't have UConn winning the whole thing, but I do have them getting past my sort of dark horse BYU. I think I want to pick Kentucky, but I think Houston's going to get the bid over them. So I've got 2 1s coming out of those divisions. Okay. And then down here, would love to pick Baylor, but again, can't do it. I just think North Carolina is a well-rounded team. And this is where I'm going to have an upset. I'm not going all 1s. I got Creighton continuing and getting their bid to the Final Four over Purdue. That's going to be an incredible matchup if it happens. So
the balls on this guy, huh?
little bit. I'm riding them, man. We'll see. So that's the Final Four. If you want, I'll stick with it here.
Yep.
And I'll say that I do have UConn going back. I think they beat North Carolina. I think they go back to the dance. I think they'll play Creighton. And I think they're going to come up short. And I got Creighton winning the whole damn thing, my man.
Wow.
The whole thing. 3 seed, taking it all the way.
Wow.
It's off the board.
Wow.
Crazy things have happened.
Did you put your points in there?
I like it.
You put your points in there, so it's official?
I am calling my shot right now. And I think I'm going to say 78-75 on a 3-pointer. Creighton to win the game. That comes out to, what is it?
153.
53. Yep.
Wow.
So
okay.
There you go.
All right.
Locking it in.
I'm riding my Iowa State. This is going to be a rematch of the Big 12. They played each other twice. So I'm going to go Iowa State over Baylor. And like I said, I did a little foreshadowing. Purdue over Kentucky. I think Purdue's going to win it all. I like Zach Edey. Again, and I've said Zach Edey, he's a beast. I think the score is going to be 73-65, giving me 138 points.
Like it.
So submit bracket. There it is. Boom.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
We have
Did you submit your bracket?
I am submitting it right now. I'm in.
There it is. Creighton. Wow.
Yeah. So
nice.
That was fun. That was good stuff. I mean, some pretty good analysis. Yeah, I think you know some of the players and some of the teams probably a bit better than I do, but Wasn't lying. I mean, I did some high level research, looked at some categories that I thought were important to hone in on, and educated guesses, man. Before we sign off, I wanted to ask you, do you know, I think it was Warren Buffett who did the $1 million perfect bracket challenge or something like that. Did you hear about that years back? Is that still going on?
I don't know if it's still going on, but ESPN has one. I think you can get like a perfect bracket. You'll win like $1 million.
Yeah.
So
wish we could do that. Ours is 25.
Hey man, everything's better than nothing.
Not a perfect bracket, but
yep. So just to share our screen real quick, right now we got 5 people in there. We obviously got me, we got Tony Econ, we got Eric Weatherly, we mentioned last show, we got you, and it says Marilyn O'Brien, but that's my dad. So we got 5 in there. Hoping for 5 to 6 more, make it fun.
Yep. Jordan Lidecker, where are you? Jeff Creason, where are you? Yes. Ryan Gallagher, where are you?
Matt O'Brien, where are you? My brother who texted me about it on Saturday. You guys doing a bracket? I said, hell yeah, we're doing a bracket.
Yes, sir.
So, yep. So, that was fun. I think we'll, like I said, we'll do another bracket for hockey, and then we'll do another bracket for basketball. NBA basketball. I think if we can get enough participants, we might keep this gift card going. Sorry, Dolinator. I know you were the inaugural winner of the hockey. We didn't have a gift card, but hey, get us next time.
That's right. So. Good stuff. We went a little bit longer, but we wanted to do something fun with our brackets. It's always enjoyable. We want people to play along with us, like Dan said. So please find our bracket on the ESPN mobile app, on their website, free to enter. Giving away that $25 gift card just straight from Dan and I just to make it fun.
Yep. Thursday at like 12 o'clock. Thursday at 12 o'clock, I believe.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a good time. A lot of games going on. So if you're looking for something to watch, there should be some good basketball. We obviously went pretty heavy on that on the show today, but we touched on a couple other things. Next week, as we mentioned, we'll probably go pretty heavy on baseball, do some more fun things on that show, but we'll always be mixing in the other sports content. So, any other parting thoughts, Dan, before we sign off?
That's it, man. Just an exciting time to watch basketball. I mean, I know growing up, I've always loved March Madness, so it's March Madness. It's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, 100%. We can get more the merrier. I mean, I think we had 7 in the NFL playoff.
Yep.
So we're at 5 right now. We're expecting at least 4 or 5 more. So hopefully more the merrier.
We got to up that number for sure. We will. I think
if we get it up to 20 plus, let's push it up to 50. How about that?
Deal.
Okay.
Deal.
20 plus people in the bracket, and you can only have 1 bracket per person. So if anybody's trying to pull some fast ones on us, yep.
1 entry. Yep. Exactly.
20 plus in the group. We'll up it up to 50. So
yeah. Cool.
Just letting you guys know.
Yep. Awesome. Good stuff, man. Great show. This is Overtime Sports Show. We appreciate everybody listening. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and we will see everybody next Tuesday.
See you.